A group of young, rich, diversity all sorts decide to play a game of who done it until someone actually did it. And it's up to the remaining social victims, I mean survivors, to find out who it is before there's none of them left in bodies, bodies, bodies. Hello there, you loose units, and welcome back to another episode of Spicy Boy Reviews. I'm, of course, your host, Andrew Iles. That's right, a new horror film, Bodies, 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 directed by a Dutch actor by the name of Helena Rain, I believe it's pronounced, only has one other feature under her belt, which is called Instinct. We open the film on an extreme close-up of two lesbians making out with tongues mashing together and lip-smacking noises afoot. But if you didn't know that they were lesbians by this, don't worry, the script is going to remind you every couple of sentences. Turns out that Sophie here has an old group of old school friends who are having a party in a mansion down the road, and these two lesbians should totally crash it. Her new Bulgarian girlfriend here, who looks like a cross between Brie Larson and Kate Mara, accepts the invitation, and she's now the POV character for the remainder of the film. They are both arrive at the mansion to some tension in the air with the group, and the mansion is owned by the father of Pete Davidson's character, who here is playing Pete Davidson, who is looking more and more like Beetlejuice with every on-screen appearance. There's apparently a huge storm coming, a hurricane a fair way away, so they've decided to bunker down in the mansion and get super drunk and super high. We discover that Sophie here is a recovering drug addict, and her friends get really upset that she arrived unannounced because she didn't reply in the group chat. What a monster! We got all kind of slights like that with these characters, with not replying to each other's texts, hating each other's podcasts, and getting triggered by each other's toxic behaviour. Because this group of diversity all sorts are all victims and going full-blown Gen Z. Fuck me. When does the murder start? An hour? Turns out that this group here have a long, toxic past with one another, and we get some sweet, juicy exposition here relayed to two people who are not privy to this information, being not Brie Larson and Will Pace, who are our eyes and ears for the remainder of the film. These people are the most obnoxious, self-centered, woke, rich arseholes that ever Gen Z'd. And I can't wait for the killing to start! They all begin to take drugs, get drunk, and spit out the most eye-rolling, cringe-worthy dialogue that you would probably hear at a Twitter blue checkmark community meetup. Before we get anything that resembles a horror film here, the film has to remind us that Sophie and not Kate Mara are, still lesbians, and discover that pretty much every woman at this party is some form of lesbians at different degrees. Anyway, the storm knocks out the power, and the group here decide to play a game of whodunit, or murder in the dark if you will. And of course, not only the tension, but themselves are super high, and this game can only go well. But things of course go tits up when someone actually gets murdered, and the game is afoot. While the group of diversity all sorts are getting angry and pointing the finger at each other and the distrust grows, we're reminded that there's more than one lesbian at the party. Then there's more and more lies spat out, more and more manipulation, and more deep toxic past is revealed. All the characters are super obnoxious and unlikable, which is great for cannon fodder for a horror film, but you gotta spend 99% of the time hearing them talk this garbage. People get killed off screen, the bodies start piling up, the group of survivors gets smaller and smaller and smaller, and the distrust escalates. The dialogue is insufferable and riddled with words like triggered, or red flags, or you're gaslighting me, or you're an ableist, or you're an ally, and certain characters are perceived as good because of their star sign. Yep, sounds like Gen Zers to me. However, it's not till about the 45-minute mark towards the end that I started getting really interested in the film. It was all ramping up to something, and I was getting curious to see where it was going to go. We get a reveal and a twist of who done it or what actually happened, and I've got to say, it's pretty dark and hilarious. And if I'm perfectly honest, I really liked it. I audibly laughed out loud in the cinema. Like I've been saying, the first half of the film just has insufferable dialogue and really obnoxious, unlikable characters that go full-blown Gen Z, and you're sort of hating it for a while, but then it starts ramping up halfway through, and I started realizing, is this movie playing it straight, or is this making fun of Gen Z culture and using them as a bit of a parody? I'm leaning towards the latter. And of course, we get a couple of horrible Gen Z tunes here. I refuse to say music, I'm going to say tunes. You've heard it before, it seems to be the thing at festivals. It's just this monotone sound that's created in a computer, and the female singer is just singing monotone with no energy. Clearly a vegan. You know, singing in the way of, I don't give a fuck about nothing. I feel nothing. Give me that dick and put it in my pussy. Just fucking horrible. Yet again though, maybe a parody. I'm not sure. It was also really hard to see what was happening in the frame at certain times. It was a really, really dark film. But it was intentional and made sense to the plot. You're not trying to be uber super cool by being stylistic. No, because the power's gone out because of the storm, and the characters have to sort of wander around the mansion with torches and glow sticks. It made sense to the plot, of course, and actually added to the film. And the sound design was really, really good. Like, things happen in other rooms or just around the corner, and our character POV would, wander around there and the sound would grow, or the storm outside was constant. There's a few nice little setups and payoffs here, especially with the reveal at the end. And to be honest, this is a magnificent concept for a horror film. I mean, it's practically Clue. It's just a pity that 99% of the time you got to listen to these Gen Zers spit out the most horrendous shithouse dialogue. Yet again though, still not sure whether intentionally straight or parody. The film does, however, give off a strong vibe of the Black Christmas and the Craft remake. And that's not a good thing. But yeah, I did like the ending. The ending didn't save the movie for me per se, but I did walk out there a little bit pleased. I don't think it's a really good film per se, but yeah, the ending was good. Probably worth watching just for the end, but again, unfortunately, you're going to have to sit through the most obnoxious, self-centered, victim-blaming dialogue that ever Gen Z'd. It's like sitting through a university gender studies debate. But anyway, that's Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. Very disposable, another disposable horror film leading up to Halloween, which I'm getting excited about because it looks like there's a lot of horror films coming out, and that's my jam. And guys, if you made it this far into the episode, please give me a thumbs up because your love and support keeps me going, because I just love movies, and I assume you do as well. And of course, don't forget to hit that subscribe icon because we give it episodes weekly, and we'll see you back here next week for the next review, and until then, stay spooky, kids.